Hello, dear friends. So, tonight we're going to talk about something fascinating and important, Immaculate Conception. And we all know the story of the conception of Jesus. Um, and the thing is that we're all capable of that, regardless of gender. And we continuously do it unconsciously. But when we realize that we can consciously conceive divine ideas and produce them into the physical and bring them down to earth, then we become conscious artists. And let me break it down a little bit. When we get out of the delusion conditioning that sexual energy is bad and original sin and we're sinners here on earth and we need to repent and we're these miserable lowly beings, and we wake up from that delusion and realize that we are God, we are one, we are energy, pure consciousness, and we're creative beings. And our sexual energy is actually the energy of creation. That's how we came into these bodies, these vessels. So there's nothing wrong with it. And in the same way that we can use it to conceive a human, we can pull it up our vessel and use it to conceive divine ideas from the ether, whether it is for art, for new invention, for a new structure of some way that can benefit humanity. It doesn't matter. It's always something that, when it comes from source, the divine infinite intelligence, it's for the highest good of all. Then we begin to meditate and conserve that energy, whether through celibacy or choosing to only share it with conscious partners. Um, and we can receive a download from source, infinite intelligence, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And then, uh, with that energy, make sure that we take the necessary steps to bring the idea, the vision, the art into the physical. And what is fascinating is that those ideas are floating out there, and sometimes we can see. When I was more into the NFT space on Twitter, uh, sometimes I would have a certain idea for a piece of art and I would create it. And then I would see somebody else having a similar idea and their interpretation is a little different, but we're on the same wavelength. Or I would have the idea and not do anything with it, and I would see somebody else that did it. And I was always fascinated of how there are the same themes that are moving through all of us, and the ones that catch that idea will interpret it in the ways that we are skilled at. And sometimes it could be different mediums, but it's the same essence. And I always thought it's like really beautiful how connected it all is. And if we think about certain inventions, like different people had the same ideas, but if it's something outwardly, like the airplane, for example, at the time, the Wright brothers persisted and they could so vividly see it in their imagination. And no matter how much they failed, they persisted. And even though they didn't have as much funding or anything else as this other person that was trying to invent the airplane, they were the ones that did it because of the sheer faith that they had in the vision that they received and their persistence and trying and trying and trying to bring it down and make it happen until it works. So this is how those ideas work, and it's the same with art. You can have the idea, but if you never do anything, and if you don't persist, and you keep getting better and better, it's just not gonna work. So we're all capable of immaculate conception when we tune into we're in our feminine energy, receive the divine idea, and then we go into the masculine and begin to execute it. And when we stumble, we go into the feminine again and wait for intuition, and then we go into the masculine again and put the practical steps into place to bring that idea into physical fruition. So, in the same way a baby is created, everything else is created in this world. And when we are consciously aware of this, we can really become these divine conduits and ask for what is ours to bring into that world, and ask the divine to use us to the best of our gifts, capacities, skills, and abilities. And when that is happening, there's always that process of development that happens where certain things that need to fall away, maybe certain habits or beliefs that stand in the way of accomplishing the goal, and then other skills, uh, habits, beliefs need to be added. And in that process, we are actually becoming the art, and we're being remolded, reshaped, recreated. So as we create, we are constantly being recreated and renewed ourselves. And that gives a person this spirit of curiosity, enthusiasm, joy, constant learning, constant renewal, and keeps a person young at heart. Um, because we're continuously changing, growing, evolving, letting go, letting in, being still, receiving, reshaping, transforming, shape shifting, evolving, growing, stretching, expanding. And it's really beautiful to live that way and be that conscious creator, where, as you create certain things for the world, you're being created yourself. And it's this beautiful symbiotic relationship, and that reflection and fractalization of, like the whole represents the part, and the part represents the whole, and everything is very intrinsically linked. And when we shift into that mode of being vessels and conduits, and attuning to our soul and source, then there's no reason for competition, for comparison, because everybody assumes and remembers their own unique role in the divine play and performs it. And there's no competition, like you can want somebody else's role, but it's not really for you. And if you get it, you realize that you're struggling. And sometimes if you're struggling, that's how you know, like, you're doing something that's performative, that is not coming from presence. But when we tune into presence and authenticity, we naturally assume the role that is for us, and it feels natural and it feels effortless and easy, even when it's difficult, because it's the thing that we're supposed to do, that comes natural, that is aligned, that is in tune with our essence. And a beautiful way to arrive there is to be inspired by other artists and creators who have done it and who embody it. And by being surrounded in their frequency through receiving their art and creations and appreciating them, we soak that energy up, and it serves to guide us and helps to attune us to more of our own authenticity. So instead of being in jealousy, comparison, competition feeling lack and unworthiness, feeling less than or try to one up. If we're just in presence and gratitude and appreciation for what somebody else has created, we can tap into the frequency of authentic conscious creation and allow what is meant for us to reach us in the form of an idea, and then have the courage and the inspiration to deliver it and share it with the world.